What's going on YouTube? Earthpower here with another exciting narrated match. Today I have myself running the 5 Civ pile versus CVH running a water, fire, nature, corrupted list featuring the Warbringer, Poseidon, and cards like Blitz Commando and the Bad Apple and Tricky Turnip to get a little bit of ramp going. The deck's pretty neat. And we're honestly, it's sort of, I don't know if I would say that it's all that, like, I wouldn't say it was tier 1, but it's definitely getting there. I think as far as tempo goes, it's definitely very strong. When Warbringer does come down, things get really complicated for the opposing deck to deal with. Since there's no real way to get rid of Warbringer outside of either putting it into the mana or just juggling it with bounce cards and other things. So we see here that he gets the early ramp, the early sprout, and now I'm sort of forced to play defensively. It is a tempo deck, so I have to watch out for progressions like Seneschal, and then like the Turnip of the Bad Apple, like I was saying, and there's Bad Apple. So setting up blockers is definitely something I want to do against this deck early, sort of mitigate a little bit of his tempo while setting up myself using cards like Reap and Sow just now to just sort of build myself, get myself to the late game, which is where the pile decks really strive. So CVH there has the Rusalka and then opts not to attack with the Bad Apple, fearing the potential of a Major Owl. The card is super powerful against decks like this. And I think at this point, he's just in a really bad way. I'm pretty sure I'm holding Major Owl and the card that you just saw there, Drill Storm, so I was able to put Tornado Flame down, get my Fireman active, and Drill Storm is Field Away, which hit both the Apple and the Rusalka. And now he has no follow-up on turn 6, and I'm able to summon a Ramnoth. However, I do opt not to use the effect there, which was probably a mistake. You typically want to use the effect, and I think it's just the fact that I'm in such a good situation right here that I'm just sort of not really thinking about using the effect that much. I don't have anything in my hand to really ramp to, so it's not that big of a deal for me currently, but the ramp would definitely be appreciated, and it was a mistake not to use the ramp there. There I go ahead and use it. Throws down a Reverberate, another very powerful card that this deck utilizes. And I let that Seneschal attack go through because I can just revenge it with the Ramnoth there. And I kind of wanted to take the shield just to increase my hand size a little bit. Just sort of give me a couple more options since I really didn't have anything like super powerful in my hand. Again, I've got all the options in my hand right now, and I have the mana to do what I want, so I opt not to use the Ramnoth's effect there. With 10 mana now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and drop Haven. I believe that's the play here. Either Haven or Cass, both are pretty strong, or I might not even have them at all. So there goes oh, that's a pretty good way to get rid of Warbringer. Terror Pit into Mesmerize with 10 mana. So knocks it out and reveals that he has a Heliflame in his hand. So with the opposing Heliflame now, I go ahead and use Ramnoth's effect, and now I believe I'm going to set up a little bit more defense, sort of start putting the nails in the coffin, if you will. Set up another Ramnoth and throw a Major Owl down just to get some defense down, and go in with the Ramnoth. I think he's in such a bad way at this point that even if he is able to summon another Warbringer as well as one or two fast attackers, I'm not super worried. Major Owl will mitigate a little bit of that, and then I don't think there's a way that he could literally break all of my shields this turn. He does have the other Warbringer though with the 2-drop for free, so that's pretty cool. And he goes ahead and decides that mana is definitely something he wants to put down. Just goes ahead and throws Seneschal down. So that way, if I do break this turn and he somehow gets a blast that can mitigate it, I should be fine. So here I go for Reap and Sow, just trying to, stall for some defense. I'm hoping I have Andrew here. I think Andrew would be it. Yep. Andrew throws it down and he goes ahead and scoops up. So that is game one. Again, proving that, you really don't want... if you're running a tempo deck and you're playing against Pile, you definitely cannot let them get to the late game with... well, I mean, you can let them get to the late game, but you definitely have to be in a very favorable board condition to where you can potentially juggle or at least play around the First Haven or Andromeda and continue with your board pressure. So, heading into game two here. Quick shout outs to Ultra Pro. Definitely go check them out if you are not familiar with their products. They've got a new line of sleeves coming out that are pretty sweet. You should definitely go check those out, as well as their new Pro Mat series. They got a bunch of new colors coming out this season, as well as the regular products, the Pro Dual Deck Box, which I'm a big fan of, as well as just regular sleeves and all that fun stuff. So definitely go check them out. And the Kaijudo sleeves, can't forget about those. Shoutouts to Tritonus and Immolator. So, CVH is on the play this time. Goes ahead and sets Blitz Commander down, Again, I mentioned it in some previous videos, unlocking the multi-civs early is, or putting down the multi-civs early is usually pretty key, especially in tempo where you don't want them to clog your hand and interrupt your progression steps. So there you see me start with Squillis and Dragon Knight Volaron, which helps unlock 4 civs actually. Fire, Light, Water, and Dark. The only one now is Nature, and there's the Reap and Sow to unlock Nature. And Lemon is definitely the most powerful card that I could have summoned here. CVH is just going full on aggro at this point, and he's very wary of the Drill Storm, so which could definitely wreck things. He opts there. He was in a much favorable position again. The last time he did this, I was at turn 5, so the Major Owl was very prevalent and didn't want to attack with the potential of that coming down. So here he just goes ahead and summons another Corrupted. No real power on board. The limit is definitely holding him back from doing a lot. And I think at this point, if I have the Owl, I should definitely just summon the Owl. However, it ends up in my mana. I must have another. And opted to go for the Mesmerize, which was a very good choice, as I reveal that he has Finbar. So, knock that out of his hand. He is top decking now and opts to pass. I'm assuming he either topped a Warbringer or another Finbar, which would have completely wrecked me. Finbar being very powerful in this situation where he could have just bounced Lemon, drawn 3 cards, and I would be potentially 3 shields down. So. Go to 6 here. Let's see. Piercing Judgment seems to be the play. I can't risk the Finbar coming down again and tearing up like it could very well do with all 3 creatures on board. So I go ahead and attempt to nip that in the butt now, and opt to Piercing Judgment and banish one of the Tricksters while bouncing the Renegade, which CVH decides to resummon the following turn. Instead, opts to summon Renegade over the Bad Apple there, which seems like an interesting play. Renegade, however, if it is banished, would go to his mana zone and allow him to potentially play the Warbringer, which I believe he's holding on to at this point. So, and there it is. So that was definitely the choice for the Renegade, just to, in case I do banish it, mitigate him topping a multi-civ. Here I'm now at 9 mana, so I'm going to summon the Andromeda and make this game very difficult now for CVH. He is in top deck mode, so he's relying on a lot of things. And there he opts to just go ahead and bounce the Andromeda, and then potentially break 2 shields to mitigate me playing the other Andromeda. However, I do have Piercing Judgment, and the first shield he breaks. So things are just not going well for him. Even at this point, like, he just doesn't have the power on board to deal with certain things. Oh, and there I make the proper play. Yeah, that's what I said originally. Bounce the Renegade, and we'll just go ahead and I guess leave the Rusaka untapped. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. But there I have the Haven, and can follow it up with a Major Owl, which can go ahead and banish both creatures. So the Rusaku going to his grave, and then thanks to Owl being powered up, I can attack over the Warbringer, which is just going to go back to his hand anyways. And then he can summon it next turn and summon the Renegade for free. He did throw something down in mana, but his hand is hovering over it right now, so I can't quite see. Oh, Sprout. So, and then the Andromeda comes back down, and I go ahead and triple with Haven. Drop a Lemon from my hand. Major Owl just breaks the one shield, and now with 7 shields and not a lot going on CVH's board, I think even Blitz Commando and being able to summon his entire hand of 4 creatures wouldn't be enough for him to swing for game there. So he opts to Finbar back and Rusalka my Andromeda and Lemon, and then that's pretty much the game. He can't attack over my Owl because of the power from Haven. He looks at a shield, and I believe he's just assessing life at this point. So, pretty good game. I mean, he could just break some shields here for giggles, but moral victories, if you will. He goes ahead and runs his Warbringer into my Owl to draw a card, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't think he runs Stormspark any mass tap or removal spells to deal with the Haven. So now I'm just gonna style on him. I still believe in the deck. I think Water Light Fire Corrupted is definitely a decent option, or Water Fire Nature Corrupted is still a decent option. I think the deck is powerful. And with certain techs and stuff like that, I think Tainted Chords is a card that we've been testing. Can definitely help get the Seneschal over things that it wouldn't normally be able to deal with, like the Major Owl. And CVH is just upset. So, and weirdness is occurring. So, shoutouts to How to Basic and all that fun stuff. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Check out the social links below, the Facebook, the Twitter, all that fun stuff. Be on the lookout for more videos and KMC updates, as well as This Week in Kaijudo. If you haven't had a chance to check out our podcast yet, definitely go check it out at Team Peach on Podomatic. I'll put that link down below so you guys can go check that out. We do a podcast weekly where we talk about the KMCs and what's been going on at them, as well as trying to get a guest from one of the KMCs that would have happened over that weekend, and to get them to talk about their experiences and what they saw and all that fun stuff. So stay on the lookout, and hopefully, guys, we'll see you next time. Peach.